Thank you, Senator Wyden. Administrator Slavitt, thanks for joining us today. Just very briefly, I wanted to touch on one matter that is off the topic today, if I could, and follow up on the very brief exchange you and I had prior to the hearing, which is the work that we can do together to address part of the problem that is contributing to this appalling tragedy of opioid addiction and heroin addiction and deaths from overdose. I think everybody on this committee is painfully aware of this problem. I don't think a single one of us is from a state that's not affected by this. And fortunately, I think there are a number of things we can do to help address this. And the administration has consistently urged Congress to pass legislation that would give Medicare the same authority that Medicaid already has, that the private sector already uses, and I'm referring to the authority to lock in certain beneficiaries, lock them into a single prescriber and a single pharmacy when it is determined that they are likely to be getting excessive quantities of opioids and perhaps diverting these to untoward uses. I have a bill. Senator Brown is the lead Democrat on the bill. I want to thank Senator Casey and Portman from this committee who are also co-sponsors of this legislation. And it would do just this. It would simply extend to Medicare the power that Medicaid has. It would take a significant step, I think, in the direction of diminishing the risk of diversion. And I wanted to ask you if CMS and the administration fully supports this approach, and if you would support enacting this legislation as soon as practical.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you for your leadership on this very challenging issue. I know from work we've done with you in your office in Western Pennsylvania how personally involved you have been, and of course we are dealing with the effects of this every day as well. And we think that a lock-in proposal, it makes every bit of sense in the world, and we completely agree that that's the kind of authority that would be very helpful in really taking a practical measure to stem abuse.
And if I remember correctly, the President's budget has actually called for this policy.
That's correct.
Is it your understanding that the President's upcoming budget is likely to renew that call?
That's what I would expect, yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, I want to thank my colleagues on this committee who have joined in this effort, and I'd really like to urge this committee to take up this legislation. It passed the House by a big bipartisan vote. It is bipartisan. It actually is scored to save money as opposed to cost taxpayer money, and it almost certainly would diminish the risk of addiction and death. So I really, frankly, can't think of too many higher priorities for this committee in the near term.